I'm going to continue reading Log Horizon. As level 90 adventurers, it shouldn't even have been possible for an attack they made against a level 48 monster to fail. Here, too, Shiro could see the gaps in their teamwork. They still hadn't done enough. Training together, their brothers might be level 90, but they didn't yet have full control of their abilities. In that case, Shiro concluded he should respond accordingly. He cast a ranged spell, Nightmare Spear. Nightmare Spear was an enchanter's range attack spell that said it couldn't do much damage. Enchanters weren't good for damage spells to begin with compared to other classes at the same level. They offense spells they could cast on their own were monster Nestle weak. As if to prove this, although the spell Shiro had launched through and unsteady arch to touch down and bust in the midst of the weasels and prowling plant, it didn't seem to have done much damage. It would take him more than one attack to beat a monster even if his level. The only attack methods the Enchanter class had were low damage ones. It was one of the things that made Enchanter a pretty unpopular class in older tales. When it came to games, gamers were quite careless. The program, a world ruled by formulas. Numbers were everything. True, it was just a game. Still, precisely because it was a game, the society inside it was all the more ruthlessly stratified. There was a huge difference between the reputations of the popular classes, which were rumored to get preferential treatment instead of unpopular classes. However, even if it had a poor reputation with the average gamer, Shiro had no complaints about his class. It was probably very nice to have superior abilities, but since he didn't have them, he saw more benefit in arranging things so he could enjoy himself without them. That was how Shiro played, and he'd never been inconvenienced by it. Besides, Shiro liked enchanters. He likes the way that never seemed to go their way. He likes the fact that they were weak. He also liked the huge potential they held. Shiro's weakness was being unable to do anything on his own. The enchanter designed concept held the flip side of that weakness. That was what he'd attract him to it. Shiro's Nightmare Spear unleashed a transparent psychic wave across its attack range. The dozen or so monsters inside the range were caught up in that wave, and the shock slowed their movements to a crawl, while it lasted, which once be long nightmare spheres effect calls a negative move speed reduction status and its targets. Two cheerful voices rang out. Hey, yeah, that'll be easy to hit. Thank you, my ledge. Although the enemies, they were currently fighting the traffics and bearer weasels, looked squat and daunting, and the extreme none of them measured more than a meter or so. In terms of attack reach, Netsugu and Akatsuki swords gave them an overwhelming advantage, with the monster's speed reduced. All they had to do was walk right up to them and make sure their attacks hit home. There we go. One down. Likewise, not bad, short stuff. Do not call me short stuff, stupid. Netsugu. Of course, his friends weren't the type to wail on gloom and doom. Netsugu was more cheerful and tougher than average, and although Akatsuki was normally a girl of few words, she could hold her own against Netsuku with room to spare. One opportunity and a little excess. And in the blink and I did started to take the monsters out. Shiru followed behind, acting as support. All he had to do was use a spell to bend the exceptional monster. Date missed and leapt an attack. Uh, uh, Knowing that speed reduction would put him at an advantage in battle, Shiru had developed his own system. He used binding spells like Nightmare Spear and Astral Bind to limit enemy abilities, then focus on assisting the vanguard. It was nothing if you thought about it, just basic fighting strategy. One he'd used a thousand times before. Well, we can't waste too much time and energy on low ranking monsters like these, he thought. There's a formation I want to test today. 1, 2, and gone.